Howdy folks, RagingRaptor here and welcome to a new review. Today it is about the new Marathon Tier 8 Chinese premium tank, the 122 TM. For this review I've already played 15 games in this tank, 10 with vents, rammer and stabilizer, and 5 with turbocharger, rammer and stabilizer, to get a feeling for that tank. In those 15 games I had a 53% win rate with 2073 average damage and around 1.1 kills per game. And today morning I've played the 5 games with the turbocharger and I was at 2200 damage per game, so I was a little bit improving. I do have to say I do need to get a better feeling for this tank, and those stats I just talked about are a little bit misleading, as in those 15 games I had 2 0 damage games. Which is kind of bad for a person like me. But yeah, let's jump into the firepower of the 122 TM. The firepower of this thing is already a little bit weird. It's a 120mm gun. It has 400 alpha with 233mm of APCR penetration and 299mm heat penetration. The HE has 515 alpha with 62mm of pen. That already sounds bonkers. You know, those pen values, some tier 9 mediums would like to have that. But then you will see the loading time. 16.7 seconds. With a good crew and vents you can get this down to 14.5 without rations. But yeah, 16.7 seconds. That is insane if you ask me. You have a very poor rate of fire, resulting in a very bad DPM. 1430 all the way up to 1700 depending on the crew. You have 80 degrees of gun depression, which is good, and you have 2.2 seconds aim time, which is okay as well. You also have a good accuracy of 0.32. However, your accuracy on the move is rather bad. 0.2 and 0.15 for hull and turret. So if you've played already the 1-to-1, you will know how this accuracy feels, because it's roughly the same. It really feels equivalent to the 1-to-1. And that's a little bit of an issue. You have very poor DPM and you have a rather potato-like gun. And this can result to you whiffing a lot of shots, which can be rather annoying if you ask me. So yeah, you have to pick the fights. If you get your load, then you are done for. Sure, you have a little bit of armor, which we're going to have a look at in just a second. But when you're getting your load, you do not have the DPM to fend off any attacker or any aggressor. So you have to pick your fights. If you are in a positional fight where you can peek at your terms, this tank's gun is very potent. If not, then it will be rather rough. Let's talk about the armor next. And this, I already had a comment, which you will see right here, which somebody said, oh boy, it is a great tank, it's a 430 on tier 8 without a lower plate weak spot. Buddy, let's just watch this review together with me, okay? And let's do this review together, because this thing, yes, 120mm upper front plate armor, that is nasty. However, 105mm lower plate armor, Sure, the turret is great, 280mm on the cheeks, like who is going to pen that as a tier 8 tank? But then you have cupolas which are 160mm. Like the 430U on tier 10 has 270mm of effective armor on their cupolas. Meaning that even same tiered opponents cannot pen them reliably without premium rounds. With premium rounds it starts to get more reliable. But without, no. This tank, however, let's have a look at the live model against the Progetto 46, which is one of the most common tanks on tier 8. And you will notice the cupolas have almost a 100% chance of penetration. Especially the left cupola, as you can see, it is very weak. It is very weak, especially if you hit a little bit lower, because there is apparently a 120mm spot. And the cupolas are big. They are truly big. The upper plate is also not that good. 120mm actually. Yes, that sounds great on paper, but it's still a 70% chance of penetration. 70 almost. The lower plate, 76. Yes, if you start using those great 8 degrees of gun depression, it looks a little bit better. As you can see, the upper plate will start to be rather bouncy. but the cupolas still exist, and those cupolas are big. They are big. I do want to point out that, yes, the brackets of the rockets are a little bit misleading, but as you can see, those cupolas are still huge. You just need to shoot at those cupolas. That's it. There's nothing else you have to do. Just shoot at those cupolas and you will have easy pen. I do want to say that against tier opponents, the armor is meh. Again, because of the big cupolas and the fact that the upper front plate can even get penetrated rather comfortably by same tiered opponents at close-ish distance. At bigger distances, yes, this tank is actually fairly good at armor. And I do want to point out that against low tier opponents, when you're like at tier 6, let's say the Cromwell for example, you can go suck a dick. That is bad. That is very, very bad. You don't have a chance penetrating this tank frontally. But I feel this is more of a problem of +-2 matchmaking than this tank having good armor. And the thing is, as soon as you're going to fight against tier 9 tanks, like for example, let's have a look, where is it, the CS59? Yeah. Standard ammunition, yeah. On flat surfaces, basically, except for the turret, everything is green. So, yeah, let's say that the armor works against lower tiered opponents. Against same tiered opponents, it's a meh for me. And that's about it. But yes, you can try to side scrape, but, you know, if you side scrape, the cupolas are still there. They're still easy pens for same tiered opponents. So, yeah, boys and girls, the armor is lackluster. Another thing about the armor or the collision itself model is that this part right here is where the fuel tanks are. So if you get hit here twice, you're most likely going to burn. Keep that in mind. However, 1400 hit points, that is nice and we can work with that. It's much better than what the 274A has to offer. The mobility is another mixed bag. That's why I played 5 games with the turbocharger to see if it gets any better. Stock 15.5 HP per ton ratio roughly, 50 kph top speed, 15 kph in reverse. That sounds good for a medium, especially with the armor the 122 TM has to offer. However, you have very, 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 very bad soft stats, leading to this tank having very poor acceleration, and it will hardly ever achieve top speed. And this kind of makes it lackluster in my opinion, so the mobility isn't its strong suit either. Lastly, let's talk about the concealment and the view range. The concealment itself, it's okay. It's totally okay, you can work with that. And with a good camo crew, you are rather a sneaky medium. Especially if you have a big gun, you know. However, the view range with just 370 meters is bad. Period. There's nothing else to say. 370 meters is bad, especially when you have 2 huge cupolas which are there to get shot into the face. So you are not going to be able to spot very nicely. You can try to use like a very good crew, meaning that you have to have all the view range skills, brothers in arms, and then you can probably use coded optics as well as rations, right? And then you will have good view range. You will be able to have more than 445 meters of view range, 460 to be precise, which is a good value. That is a very good value actually. But again, you have to invest quite a lot. You have to have brothers in arms. You have to have both view range skills and you have to have optics. Meaning you have to decide if you want to use vents or optics, right? Because you do kind of need to have the V-stabs. Because otherwise the gun handling is so potato. And you do want to have the rammer because otherwise you basically have 1500 DPM, which is what the hell is that, you know? So, in conclusion, it is a well-balanced premium tank, and it does have its moments. It definitely is a rather weird one-trick pony where you have armor which works on longer distances, and you have a gun which works on longer distances. However, your mobility isn't that good. You aren't really supposed to snapshot with this vehicle because simply your gun handling is too bad for that. And I don't know yet what I should say else except for it is a good, it's an okay balanced premium. But if you already have the Prosciutto or the Brasc or the CS52 Liz, there's no real point for this vehicle, as they are all a lot better. The armor, in my opinion, isn't an argument when you have those big cupolas. Against low-tiered opponents, obviously you're going to wreak havoc. But which tank doesn't wreak havoc against +-2 matchmaking people? Seriously, which Tier 8 premium medium, which was released recently, like in the last 2 years, isn't going to ruffle stomp Tier 6s. I can't really think of any, because everybody's basically going to ruffle stomp Tier 6s. And that's more of a problem of the matchmaking than the problem of this tank. Against same tier opponents, the armor is lackluster, to say the least. Yes, you can side scrape, but again, those cupolas are big. They are huge. They are bigger than this freaking nose, you know? And this should mean something. So I have to say, if the package costs 60 euros, so if you have 50% off, you would pay 30 euros for this tank. It wouldn't be worth it. Period. If you would get it down to 80-90%, so 12 to 6 euros, I have to say, you know what? 6 euros for a tier 8 premium tank, that is a good deal, because it's 86 euros for a premium tank or a doner kebab. And I would say, you know what? I guess I pass once on a doner kebab to get a decent premium tank. It is not bad. It is a decent premium tank. Period. But if you have the CS52 list, there's no real point for this one. If you have the T34 free, not really a point in this one. If you have the Type 59, there's no real point for the 122 TM. It is unique. And that's it. It is unique with a unique gun and an okay armor profile. But I see the potential in this vehicle. I see it, but so far I wasn't able to fully utilize the potential. I also feel like that this tank will really perform well when you are putting in stuff like bounty vents, bounty V-stabs and bounty rammer and rations. But I didn't want to use that because 99% of the cases, or the 95% of you guys watching my videos, are not going to do that. They just want to have a premium tank they can make credits well with. And that's what I try to do. And the credit potential is okay. The rounds are fairly expensive, like 1000 credits per round. But if you hit and like, you basically just need to do like 5 rounds, which penetrate, and you have a pretty good game, you know? So, yeah. It's an okay vehicle. It is an okay vehicle. And I hope this review was helpful for you, and I hope I was able to show you everything you needed to know about the 122 TM. If so, let me know in the comment section below. Did you miss something? Then let me know that in the comment section as well. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my Twitch streams, which are usually in German, but you know, I can switch between languages. Cheers, good luck on the battlefield, and I'll see you in the next video.